Okay, we're going to finish up our linear regression notes here. So if you missed the earlier part, we were working through this worksheet on linear regression and going back and forth between using Desmos and using some notes that we have for Unit 4, Day 6 as instructions about how to use Desmos. And we've been entering information in as a table into Desmos and then using this formula, y sub 1 tilde mx sub 1 plus b, to find the line of best fit. So we've been having Desmos calculate the linear regression to find the line of best fit. So at the end of our last video, we had looked at problem 3, which says that this table shows certain retail department store, what are the sales depending on the years. And just as a reminder, when we have years and we are looking at the X value as years, we want our our initial year, I don't want to say first because it's really our initial year is going to be year 0. Sorry, I think that recorded some of that announcement. So we're going to find the line of best fit here by plugging in all of these X and Y combinations into a table in Desmos. So I'm going to do that while the video's on pause and let you take a look. So you try to make sure that you've got your information entered into a table in Desmos and then double check with me and see. All right, so I've entered as a table, I've entered all of my information about the sales for a certain retail department store, and it's all in billions of dollars. Remember, you do that by clicking on the plus to add a table, and then when you add your table, you're adding your X value and the Y value that corresponds with it. Then I typed in y sub 1 tilde m x sub 1 plus b. And again, we don't really worry about the statistics for this math class, but we care about our m and our b. I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth, so my m, my slope, is going to be 10.60, and my y-intercept is going to be 75.48 because I'm rounding. So let's flip back to our other page. All right, so I've written down using the slope and the y-intercept that we just calculated on Desmos, and I found that y equals 10.60x plus 75.48. If I need to estimate the store sales for the year 2008, I have to figure out what is my X value there. So remember, anytime I want the X value, I'm going to take whatever year I'm looking at and subtract 1980. So 2008 minus 1980 equals 28. So I'm at year 28. Right, so I'm looking at year 28, and that would be 2008. And I want to know what is the sales that happens. So I'm just going to plug in 28 as my X value. So I'm going to solve this by saying y equals 10.60 times 28 plus 75.48. And I'm not doing that in my head. I am doing that on a calculator or in Desmos calculator, either way. My answer is $372.28 billion. And I know that because I was told that sales are in billions of dollars. They told me that in the problem. Okay, so that's my answer, $372.28 billion. All right. I've just flipped over the page. I'll give you a hint on how to start this, and then I want you to go ahead and finish it. So I'll give you a hint, and I'm going to tell you, go ahead and create yourself an XY table. But let's talk about the problem first. It says the scatter plot below shows the number of dollars in billions that were spent on books and maps in the U.S. from 1990 through 1995. So very often our time is going to be our X value, and that is true here as well. These are our years. Okay, so we're going to have years down here on the bottom on the X. And the amount of money spent over here is going to be on your Y value. All right, so remember 1990 is really going to be year 0, right? So right here, this is 1990 at year 0. This is 1991. This is 1992 at year 2. Okay, so I need to come up with some sort of an XY table that talks about the year, and the amount of money. So this point right here is at year 0, right? 0, 16.5. 0, 16.5. My next point is at 117, and so on. So I'd like for you to try to fill in that whole table. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines in your table, 6 rows rather. Find the line of best fit. Remember, you're going to use y sub 1 tilde m x sub 1 plus b. Plug that into Desmos and have Desmos give you your m and your b, and then you can write out the line of best fit. And then I want you to estimate the amount of money that was spent on books in 2005. So we need to figure out how far are we from 1990 in 2005. So remember, this x value is going to be the difference between 2005 and 1990. So try it out and come back and see if you got the right answer. Okay, so if you went into Desmos and you created a table in Desmos, make sure, if you had any issues, just make sure that your table shows x sub 1, y sub 1. Every once in a while, Desmos will try to be clever and think that you are talking about a second set of data. And if that happens, if Desmos decides to make this x sub 2, y sub 2, it won't work with this formula. Okay, so just be careful. If things don't look right, double check that you have x sub 1, y sub 1 in your table. Okay, so our line of best fit was y equals 0.87x, plus 16.24, and we calculate out that we are looking at 15 years from when we started. We are looking for 2005, what would our sales be? So our x value would equal 15 because 2005 minus the initial year, 1990, is 15. Right, and then I just plugged in x equals 15, and I found out that I had $29.29 billion. All right, when we look at number 5, we are no longer looking at our x values having years. So we're just going to use those straight away. This x is truly just 1. This x is 2, okay? This x is 2. So you're going to make a table in Desmos using these x values and then using those y values, and you're going to find your line of best fit. Okay? This is talking about the number of gallons of milk any family might drink per week, and so you want to find the line of best fit and then figure out what would the milk consumption in 1 week be for a 7-member family. Our family size is 1 member, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You are figuring out what happens if you have 7 members. Okay, try that on your own. Come back and check. All right, so if you entered everything in properly and you used y sub 1 tilde m x sub 1 plus b, you should get that your line of best fit is y equals 0.89 x minus 0.09. And when you plug in x equals 7, because we're talking about a 7-member family, we're just going to put that in a calculator, and we find that we have 6.14 gallons of milk that we expect that big family to use. Okay, we're going to do 6 and 7. Try those on your own and then come back. Remember, we're back to years here, so our initial year has a year value of 0, excuse me, oh my gosh. Our initial is 0, and then the next one is 1. That's what I was looking at. Then the next one after that is 2, so we are going 94 to 95, 96, 97, so that's 3 years away. Okay, so your x values are going to be 0, 1, 2, 3. When you get down here to number 7, our initial year is going to be there at 1988, that's going to be a 0. So then we go up 3 years, right? So that's going to be the 3rd year, and that's going to be the 6th year. This will be the 9th year, and finally we are at the 12th year. So remember, when years, you start with 0 and you go up. All right, you're going to enter this information into Desmos, and then you're going to figure out the number of high schools with computer networks in 2002. So what would 2002 be? You can pause and make sure that you're able to do this on your own. All right, so if you are following along here, you have entered in this table into Desmos, the table where everything is typed. Okay, and you should have gotten the line of best fit as y equals 997.4x plus 6,870.4. This is a very, very steep line, and at first glance, it might even look vertical. It's not, it's just very, very steep. Okay, and so then we are asked to estimate the number of high schools with computer networks in 2002. So I had to figure out how far away was I in 2002, how far away year-wise from 2002 to 1994. I subtracted 2002 minus 1994, and I got 8. My x value then is 8. So after 8 years, if I plug that into a calculator, I will get, whoops, I didn't write my answer down. 1 sec. When I put that into a calculator, I'll get 14,849.6. And that's schools. That's talking about the number of high schools that have computer networks in 2002. Okay, so finally, we're looking at number 7. This table shows the predicted annual cost to raise a child from birth to adulthood based on the year that they were born. Right, so they say if you were born in 1988, it cost about $10,700 to raise you. Born in 91, it was a little bit more, $11,700, and it continues to increase as you see. Okay, so I knew that my initial year was 1988, so that was year 0, year 3, year 6, year 9, year 12. When I plug that in and use y sub 1 tilde x sub 1 plus b, I get this equation, y equals 510x plus 10,280. All right, so we want to estimate the cost of raising a child born in the year 2011. I had to figure out how far away in time is 2011 from 1988. So I subtracted 2011 minus 1988, and I got 23. My x value is 23. And I just plugged that in. Did a calculator, and I found that in the year 2011, we thought that it would cost $22,10 per year to raise a child. And of course, we are now in 2022, so you can imagine it probably costs even more. But anyway, that's how we do word problems with regressions, and I wish you great luck.